Hello, I'm Kate Raworth. I'm an economist passionate about creating economic thinking and practice that's fit for the realities of this century. A century that began with financial meltdown and rocketing food prices, in the context of climate breakdown, and most recently, COVID lockdown. All impacts are sharply increased by inequalities of race and gender, of wealth and power, global north and global south. Together, these tell us we need a new vision of what human prosperity looks like, and we need to transform the dynamics of our economies to get there. So let me offer you a donut, the only one that actually turns out to be any good for us. Because just as there is an outer limit of pressure we can put on the planet, those planetary boundaries, Earth's life-supporting systems, so too there's an inner limit of pressure that can be put on each person. We call these our human rights. Every person has a claim to meet their essential needs for food and water, healthcare, housing, political voice, education. Leave no one falling short in the hole in the middle, but don't overshoot the outer boundary. We need to meet the needs of all people within the means of the planet, and this is the safe and just space for humanity. On food specifically, we know that the number of people going hungry in the world has been increasing for the first time in recent years, and now, due to COVID-19, it's set to more than double by the end of the year to over 260 million people. But there are billions of people falling short on all of these social dimensions. So how do we transform these dynamics of shortfall and overshoot at the same time? To me, there are two essential dynamics that we need to transform. First, we've inherited economies that are linear and degenerative by design. We take Earth's materials, put them in the pipe of production, make them into things we want and throw it away. In food, we know that we've been throwing away up to 30 to 50% of the food that's produced globally. We have to turn this linear, wasteful system into a circular, regenerative one, where food and organic materials are returned to the land, replenishing the soil, replenishing Earth's living systems so that she can continue to feed herself and all of humanity. And at the same time, we've inherited a food system that is deeply divisive, with much of the world's food production controlled in the hands of a few major agribusiness corporations and major retailers, driving opportunity and value into the hands of very few. We need to turn this into many global food systems that are distributive by design, that share and interconnect value and opportunity between all who are involved in producing food, from growers, communities, cooperatives, suppliers, and customers. How do we transform our food systems to make them both distributive and regenerative by design? And here's my challenge to every one of us. Look at the design of the very institutions we work for. Whether you work for a major corporation or a small local cooperative, a university, a foundation, an NGO, or a government, there are 5 design traits of organizations that we need to align if we are to transformatively deliver on food systems that actually work. And here they are. First, what is your organizational purpose? Why do you exist in the world? Are you serving a 21st century purpose? And how are you networked with your suppliers, your customers, your employees, your supporters, your financiers, your allies? Are those networks reinforcing the values you stand for? And how are you reinforcing those values throughout your networks? How are you governed? Who has voice at the decision-making table? What are the rules, the practices, the incentives, the metrics by which you judge success? Now going deeper, how is your organization owned? Is it owned by a family, by a government, by venture capital, by its own employees or customers, by shareholders? Because all these very different ownership designs profoundly shape the deepest source of design, which is finance. How is your organization financed? And what is that finance demanding? If it's demanding a fast and financial return, it may well be undermining your very purpose. But if it's investing and committing to long-term transformation of food systems in line with your purpose, then you can begin to align these 5 design traits so that your organization can be part of creating the food systems we know we need for a thriving 21st century. Thanks for letting me join. I offer you that challenge to take away.